Miss Hideout, and welcome to the frozen bitter wastes of Kaldheim. The place where everything is all snowy and we've got gods flying around who can be killed. Speaking of which, let's have a look at Odin, or Alrund, god of the cosmos, who's a 5-mana 1/1. How embarrassing for him. He gets +1/+1 for each card in your hand and each foretold card you own in exile. At the beginning of your end step, choose a card type and reveal the top 2 cards of your library. Put all cards of the chosen type into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. But then if you notice in the bottom left-hand corner there, there's a little thing that says bird. Well, that's because we've got Hacker on the other side. Whispering Raven. 2 mana for a 2/3. That's better, you know, cool little stat line there. Flying, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, return it to its owner's hand, then scry 2. Really, really cool commander here. You know, we've got a big beefy boy here. You can be absolutely massive if you've got a massive, hand of cards. And then we can also cast our little Whispering Raven person. But what are we going to do with this? Well, we're going to play a little blue, interesting sort of deck. It's quite cool, and it builds around having a lot of cards in your hand, which is something blue players really like to do. If you like these videos, please do consider subscribing. I'm going to be making tons more. Eventually, I want to make one for every single legendary creature ever printed, but it's going to take me quite a while. With that, let's get into the top 5. In at number 5, we've got Cosmos Charger. 4 mana for a 3/3, and all of these cards play into the foretell ability of our commander. He not only cares about cards in our hand, but cards that we have in foretell. Foretelling? Fortexile? Whatever you want to call it. It's a flash flying horse spirit. And foretelling cards from your hand cost 1 less and can be done on any player's turn. You can foretell him for 3 mana. During your turn, you may pay 2 and exile this card from your hand face down. Cast it on a later turn for its foretell cost, so 3. So we can flash this in for 3. 3 mana, 3/3 with flash. Then all of our foretell cards are, we've ramped a little bit on that. Really nice little include. To go along with this, we've got Tales of the Ancestors. 4 mana for a sorcery. Each player with fewer cards in hand than the player with the most cards in hand draws cards equal to the difference. Foretell for 2 mana. So, why is this good? Well, to be honest, the majority of the time, we want to be the player with the most cards in hand. So, this might rot in our hand because we might not do anything. But in those situations where, we've expended a lot of resources, we've ended up with 2 odd cards in our hand, our opponents are sitting over there with 7, we can draw 7 cards. And it can be so much value. And if not, it just sits in foretell land and grows our commander, which is pretty decent. Then we've got Alrund's Epiphany. 7 mana for a sorcery. Create 2 1/1 bluebird creature tokens with flying. Take an extra turn after this one. Exile it. And then foretell for 6 mana. So extra turn spells, always really powerful. If you can copy them or something like that, even better. But having this just sit in exile and grow our commander is really, really nice. Then Behold the Multiverse is just a fantastic card by itself. 4 mana for an instant, scry 2 and draw 2 cards. Can foretell for 2 mana. So yes, you will be paying 4 mana overall, but you can spread it out. And the fact that it's instant speed, you can just hold it up. Say you're holding up some counter spell, or if your opponents don't do anything, just play this. You're going to get a ton of value. Then excellent removal. Shouldn't have been printed in blue, but it has been. Raven form. 3 mana for a sorcery. Exile target artifact or creature. Its controller creates a 1/1 bluebird creature token with flying and foretell for a single blue. Excellent value. If it was instant speed, it would be so good, but sadly it's not. This is just good removal. Good, clean fun. Then we've got Spectral Deluge. 6 mana for a sorcery. Return each creature your opponents control with toughness X or less to its owner's hand, where X is the number of islands you control. We're a mono blue deck. We're going to have quite a few islands, and this is just a one-sided board wipe for 3 mana if you foretold it. So it's excellent. We can just leave it until the last moment when, you know, everything's looking dire, our hero is about to die, and then bounce everything back to our hand. Really, really good. Mystic Reflection is a 2-mana instant. Choose target non-legendary creature. The next time one or more creatures or planeswalkers enter the battlefield this turn, they enter as copies of the chosen creature. Foretell for a single blue. So, this is a really interesting card, but it's really removal, and it can be very much commander removal. Say there's, I don't know, an Eternal Witness on the field, or just some little mana dork on the field. Our opponents play their big 7-mana commander, and we Mystic Reflection targeting the little Llanowar Elves. Their commander's going to come in as a Llanowar Elves, which can disrupt their entire game plan and really, really set them back by quite a few turns. So, excellent, excellent card. Which brings me on to number 4. And in at number 4, we've got Scrying Sheets. So, Alrund is from the land of snow. So, why don't we play with snow basics and, you know, a bit more snow synergy cards? Scrying Sheets is a very, very good card. Snow land, tap it for colours. That it will produce a snow mana because this is a snow source. Or you could pay 2, one of them being a snow, and tap it. Look at the top card of your library. If that card is snow, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. So this can be an excellent little card advantage engine for the simple include of a land and having all of your basics be snow. But, as you'll see in a second, having all snow basics is really quite a benefit in this deck. Isolated Watchtower is a very similar card to the one we've just shown. So it's a land that taps for colours. You can pay 2 and tap it, scry 1, then you reveal the top card of your library. If a basic land card is revealed this way, put it onto the battlefield tapped. Activate this ability only if an opponent controls at least 2 more lands than you. So, likelihood is you are going to be playing against some green decks which are going to ramp fantastically. And then this is a land that ramps you for free. And it's just so, so good. And with this deck, we're going to have a lot of top deck manipulation because of Alrund's last ability, where you can get free cards if they share a type. So this is another way that we can manipulate the top. And if we scry 1 and keep it on top and it's not a land, we can at least name it with Alrund and get it for free. Graven Law is a 5-mana snow instant. You can scry X, where X is the amount of snow mana spent to cast a spell, and draw 3 cards. So potentially that's a scry 5 and then draw 3. But with those extra scries, say if we scry 5, you know, we draw 3 of the cards and, you know, you might know the second 2 down. We can then name with Alrund, they're going to be artifacts, and we've essentially drawn 5 with this card. Really, really cool. Then Rime Feather Owl is a 7-mana star snow creature bird with flying, and its power and toughness are each equal to the number of snow permanents in play. So with Kaldheim being printed, a lot of people are going to be playing snow basics, so this card has just got a lot better and a lot bigger. But then you can pay a generic and a snow, put an ice counter on target permanent. Permanents with ice counter on them are snow. So this could be an absolutely lethal attacker. You could get this up to 20/20 easily. If all of our lands are going to be snow, our opponents might be playing the odd generic snow basic. So really big threat. But Marit Lage's Slumber, an even bigger threat. 2 mana for a legendary snow enchantment. When it or a snow permanent enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. So again, nice bit of top deck manipulation, setting up our commander's ability. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 10 or more snow permanents, sacrifice Marit Lage's Slumber. If you do, create Marit Lage, a legendary 20/20 black avatar creature token with flying and indestructible. I love Marit Lage. Dark Depths is one of my favourite things in the world. I absolutely love doing it. And this is another way of getting that token. And with all the snow basics that we're going to be playing, we will get to those 10 snow permanents in play. And if not, on the journey there, we get to scry set up the deck. So obviously, snow-covered islands, here they are, absolutely beautiful. But seeing as we're playing them, we may play Extra Planar Lens. 3 mana for an artifact with imprint. When it comes into play, you may remove target land you control from the game. Whenever a land with the same name as the imprinted card is tapped for mana, its controller adds 1 mana of his or her mana pool of any type that land produced. So, because this is named Snow Covered Island, if our opponents are playing just generic islands, they won't get the benefit of Extraplanar Lens because they have different names. This is an excellent little bit of synergy and just works so well in the deck. And Extraplanar Lens is very expensive, but if you have one, it's a great include with this commander. Which brings me on to number 3. And in at number 3, we've got Blizzard Strix, another snow creature. But this is taking on a different side of the deck. This is, with our commander, yes, he is 5 mana, but the flip side of him is 2 mana. So every game we could play him on 2 and, get in, and then we've got a card back in our hand, we scryed some. But what if we don't want to recast our commander? Well, if we flicker Hacker, the bird side of him, he comes back in as the 5 mana version of himself. So we can get some card advantage there. Blizzard Strix is a 5 mana 3/2 with flash and flying. When it enters the battlefield, if you control another snow permanent, we're playing snow lands, so we will do. Exile target permanent other than Blizzard Strix. Return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So with this, we wouldn't get to use our commander's last ability because we're returning this in the end step, so we don't get to trigger it that turn. But it's a cool way of flipping Hacker into our commander Alrund. Essence Flux is a 1 mana instant. Exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. If it's spirit, put a 1/1 counter on it. This is a great instant speed effect, and this also helps us dodge removal. If someone's pointing a kill spell at our commander, we just flicker it in and out or one of our other key pieces, and we've kept it around. To go along with this, Ghostly Flicker is a 3 mana instant. Exile 2 target artifact creatures or lands you control, then return those cards to the battlefield under your control. Excellent. We can, loop this using some cards that return it to the sorceries, and it just generates so much value with our commander. Then Teferi's Time Twist, 2 mana instant, exile target permanent you control, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. If it enters the battlefield as a creature, it gets a 1/1 counter on it, so our commander's going to be a beefy boy. Bringing us on to number 2. And in at number 2, we've got Scroll Rack and ways to manipulate the top of our deck so that when our Alrund is on the field, we can name whatever card type we want and get both of those cards, creating a lot of advantage. Scroll Rack, 2 mana for an artifact, pay 1, tap it, exile any number of cards from your hand face down, put that many cards from the top of your library into your hand, then look at the exile cards and put them on the top of your library in any order. So you can take whatever cards you want. Oh, there's 2 artifacts here, I'll put them on top. At the end of turn, name artifact with Alrund. Incredibly powerful. Then we've got Descendant of Suramaru. A 4 mana 2/3. Human Wizard. Pay 2, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of cards in your hand, and put them back in any order. So again, nice bit of top deck manipulation. For 2 mana, we can just manipulate it. And hopefully, because of our commander, we want as many cards in our hand as possible. We're going to be looking at a ton of cards on the top of our library. Mystic Sanctuary is a great land. It's a free include. Any land is just so powerful if it has a good effect. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more other islands. When it enters the battlefield untapped, you may put target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to the top of your library. So you play it, put an instant on top, name instant with our commander, we've drawn it straight away. Then Mystical Tutor, single blue instant, search your library for an instant or sorcery card and reveal that card, shuffle your library and put that card on top of it. Exactly the same, excellent manipulation, can get you exactly what you need at any time. Then Dream Cash, 3 mana for a sorcery, draw 3 cards and put 2 cards from your hand both on top of your library or both on the bottom of your library. So if you've got 2 cards that you don't really want in your hand, you can put them to the bottom, but most of the time we're going to be putting them on the top so we can name tribal with our commander and get both of those tribal cards from our deck. And if we're manipulating the top of our library so much, Counterbalance is a wonderful include. Double blue for an enchantment. Whenever an opponent plays a spell, you may reveal the top card of your library. If you do, counter that spell if it has the same converted mana cost as the revealed card. So, with Sensei's Divining Top, you can float 3 different mana costs and just counter whichever spells you want. Sensei's Divining Top, 1 mana for an artifact, pay 1, look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put them back in any order. tap to draw a card and put Sensei's Divining on the top of his owner's library. So even if, you know, even worst case scenario, you tap it, name artifact with your commander, you're going to get the Sensei's Divining Top from the top of your library. Nice bit of card advantage. Which brings me on to number 1. And Alrund, we want him to be a big boy, so let's get a couple of other, you know, big fat idiots with him as well. Body of Knowledge is one of my favourite ones. 5 mana for a star avatar. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your hand. You have no maximum hand size. Whenever Body of Knowledge is dealt damage, draw that many cards. This can lead to an absolutely astonishingly large creature, and will also make our commander just as large because we have no maximum hand size. And that's the theme of these cards. Sturm Geist is a 5 mana star, where its power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in your hand. When it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Nice bit of evasion there. Having flying is really, really powerful. Psychosis Crawler, 5 mana for a star. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in your hand. But whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses 1 life, which is really, really nice. You can just ping away pew, 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 and kill your opponents. Aeon Chronicler, 5 mana. They're all 5 mana. So is Alrund. 5 mana for a star. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in your hand. But it has Suspend X, where you pay 4 mana, one of it being blue, and X. X cannot be 0. Whenever a time count is removed from Aeon Chronicler while it's removed from the game, draw a card. So a really nice bit of card advantage that can just help you keep ticking over, get you some cards, just give me the cards, and you get a big dude at the end of it, which is always nice. To go along with it, here's a couple of ways that we can get a ton of cards into our hand. Juichi Apprentice is 2 mana for a 1/2. I don't know how I'm going to read that bottom half. Pay 3 and tap it, draw a card. If you have 9 or more cards in hand, which hopefully we will, flip it. And it flips into Tomoya, the Revealer. Sorry about this. 5 mana, tap, target player draws X cards, where X is the number of cards in your hand. So you can double the amount of cards in your hand. Just keep churning through your deck, and all of your creatures are getting bigger and bigger. That was a nightmare. Finale of Revelation is a double blue X spell. Draw X cards if X is 10 or more. Instead, shuffle your graveyard into your library, draw X cards, untap up to 5 lands, and you have no maximum hand side for the rest of the game. Exile it. Absolutely great. Early game, nice bit of card advantage. We can just pump a couple of mana into X. But late game, we're going to be untapping our lands, and we've got no maximum hand size. So all of our dudes will be absolutely massive forever. Then Seagate Restoration, which is a land on the other side, which is incredibly powerful. Early game, just play it as a land. You've not really lost out on anything. 7 mana for a sorcery. Draw cards equal to the number of cards in your hand, +1. You have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Again, we're not going to be discarding, and all of our dudes are going to be absolutely colossal. And those are my top 5 cards for this Alrund commander. He's really, really cool, and card advantage is just so much fun. So getting all those cards into your hand in the cool little ways you can do it is just brilliant. I absolutely love it. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. I'm going to be making tons more of these videos, and I'll see you soon. Bye.